Well, are you ready to look outside the box a little bit today? Let's go play in Playland here. Hi, Thomas Miller on the Fun Astrology Podcast. Tuesday, November 7th. Voting in some places around the United States today. So I thought we might take a look at something a little bit off the beaten path. As we mentioned yesterday, there are no direct aspects today. And I thought rather than going backwards today, let's just keep moving forward because there is so much to move forward into this week. As far as what else is coming up, Venus changes signs tomorrow morning early, 4:30 in the morning Eastern. It moves into its own little home of Libra. Then we have this series of aspects with Mercury in the later degrees of Scorpio as it gets ready to change signs on Friday. It hits Sagittarius early overnight Friday morning, 1:25 in the morning. So those are the two big sign changes this week other than the moon. Venus tomorrow, Mercury Friday. Now, setting up kind of the middle part of the week, this is a good thing, and it will be an offset to what we're getting ready to talk about. So Venus enters its own sign tomorrow morning early. Then the moon enters Libra on Thursday. So that's going to bring a lot more harmony and balance to the end of the week. But there's an offset to that. So let's go exploring a few things in this chart. Because putting 2 and 3 together, let's zoom the spotlight in on the Scorpio planets. So we just said Mercury is peeling off later this week. That still leaves plenty of juice, another couple of weeks of the Sun and Mars. They are closing in on a conjunction. In fact, later today, they'll be within 3 degrees of each other. I noticed also that they are in a parallel aspect, applying, and it becomes exact also on the conjunction. So we have them both at the same declination. So you get the timeline in mind. They will be exact in the sky a week from Saturday morning early. It will be just after midnight, Friday of next week. So for this week and next week, they are baking as they move toward each other. They, the Sun and Mars, are also opposite Uranus. Mars closer. It's 3 degrees away, but the Sun is moving closer, so more influential with Uranus and the Sun in opposition as the week goes on. Now, the other thing is, occasionally on here we talk about the oracle planet. That's the last thing that goes up over the horizon before the Sun. Right now, that's the south node of the moon, which is in Libra. And until the moon itself gets in between those two later next week, that will be the oracle planet going forward. So, this puts, right after sunrise every day, the Sun and Mars conjoined in the 12th house, with the point of the south node of the moon slightly higher in the morning sky. And you know what happened when Mars and the south node of the moon were sitting right next to each other in that conjunction. About 3 weeks ago? Yeah. Now, I happen to be born with the Sun right on Mars, same degree, in Scorpio. So I'm very familiar with a lot of the energy that is reflected by what's happening above us. It is a completely different thing when it is baked into the soul of your life's journey. But I can tell you, having gotten into astrology to try to figure out what that meant, that it is a symbolism of internal conflict. Many times that internal conflict spills out into external conflict. Don't have to do anything at all to get it. Just be who you are and somebody will get PO'd. I've had it all my life. And I got to tell you, all the inner work that I do, there is this always on internal conflict inside my soul. It's always there. And see, I don't make it wrong because Lady Gaga explained it so well. I was born that way. This is called understanding your wiring diagram. That's what your natal chart is. Okay, so we all have tendencies that naturally just sit there, simmering. Well, the other thing is that I'm having a little bit of a difficult time right now separating the conflict that is inherent compared to the one that's above our heads, the one that is in the collective now because of this aspect. But if lately you've been feeling more tension, I wanted you to know that it is an inherent characteristic of the Sun and Mars together. Maybe in your chart you have some natal offsets to both of these where you're almost neutralizing that energy and you're really not experiencing it. Or You've done some other additional work, and it's just not as strong of a prominent energy for you. And that's great. I wish you could bottle it and put it on Amazon. I'd be your first customer. I promise you, I'd be the first in line. So would all the other Sun, Mars people I've done readings for here in the past month and a half, 2 months, whatever it's been. Yeah, they're all feeling it. So this goes through all of this week and all of next week. And then finally that will peak and we'll be on the downhill side. The sun will enter Sagittarius and we can take a big fire breath after that. It'll be a welcome one. Now, what to do about it? Well, obviously, all of the work that we talk about, that has contributed to my life in ways that I cannot tell you. And that's why following my spiritual path so closely is prominent for me. That's why I guard it so carefully. I've come to realize that I can create the inner peace that offsets that internal conflict. But it just surfaces so quickly that once I get back into the conflict, then I have to repeat the cycle. So that's what I'm saying there, is you can do it from within. You absolutely can do it from within. And the high side of this aspect, the other side of the coin is you can be so productive. You can get so much done. You can initiate things with such power that people look at it and say, how do you do that? In fact, a lot of times they just don't understand it. So there is that energy there as well. A lot of get it done, initiate, move it forward, new beginnings. But there is one other piece if you're feeling the tense side of the aspect, and that is you've got to get some physical release of the tension. So if you're feeling it, I'm not talking about taking a walk. Walks are great. I do them all the time, but you have to be more physical. So I climb hills, used to ride a bike. One of our listeners joined a gym that had a punching bag. That is perfect. You have to realize Mars is a symbolism of aggression. So that aggression can be applied to starting a project or just physical release. And I mentioned this, I think, last week, and we don't really talk about this. Probably we should more on here. But another natural, healthy release of internal tension can be sexual. So you have to see where energy is bottled up and pent up for you. And then also remember the folks who are not following a spiritual path, they're feeling it too. So give a lot of latitude and grace right now. Thank you for listening through this. I'll see you back tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Hope this helps. It is a little nuance that really needs to be magnified in the chart right now. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.